What's up, Baggies fans, football fans, and sports fans, and welcome to the latest addition to the channel. And today, we're about a third of the way through the season, so we're going to be looking at the Albion season so far. Obviously, if you're a Championship fan of another club, stay tuned for next Wednesday, where I'll do a rundown of all the Championship teams and how I think their season is going. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's get this channel to 800 subscribers before the end of the month, so get that smashing. Like this video, and as I say, leave a comment if you're an Albion fan or another Championship team. Let me know how your thoughts are, but especially if you're an Albion fan, I want to know your thoughts on how our season's gone so far. So currently we're 14th in the table with 21 points, having played 15 games, 6 wins, 6 losses, 3 draws, 14 goals scored, 16 conceded with a -2 goal difference in 14th position. Now, the thing is with the Championship at the moment, it is that tight. Look at the top of the table. You've got Coventry on 34 points. They are just, yeah, Coventry have just been unreal. Borough on 29, Stoke on 27, Preston 26, and then you've got Hull, Millwall on 25, Ipswich, Bristol City, Charlton, Derby all on 23, Birmingham, Leicester, Wrexham, us all on 21, and Watford on 20. And then again below us, we've got teams like QPR on 19, Southampton on 18, Swansea on 17, Blackburn on 16, Portsmouth on 14. It's such a tight table, bar probably, you know, Coventry were running away from it. You know, if we are 6 points, off breaking into the playoffs really, which is just ridiculous when you think about it. And for me, the start of the season was so incredible for us. That 1-0 win at Blackburn, obviously Furlong got sent off. Silly, silly, silly incident. Don't know what he was trying to do there with the elbow, but obviously he doesn't play for us anymore. So, bit of a nasty start to the season for him, but then he got moved on, obviously. And then we played. Who did we play after that? Played Derby in the cup. Obviously, got knocked out in the cup thanks to a late goal. Then played Wrexham away. Wrexham's first home game of the season, and we managed to beat him 3-2. And the season started really well for us. The Portsmouth game, we drew 1-1. Portsmouth were flying at that point. And obviously, there was a couple of incidents in that game where really it could have gone our way. We then went to Stoke, another team who were unbeaten at that point, and we beat them 1-0 at their place. Obviously, Stoke again flying higher after we beat them. And then the season almost hinges and changes on the game against Derby County on the 13th of September. We lost 1-0. Now, the stats in that game, we had 16 shots, 4 on target, 66% possession. We absolutely dominated that game. Derby had 4 shots, 1 on target, and the 1 on target was scored by, of course, ex-Albion, Andy Royman. And, it's one of those games where I think we could have probably played all night. Obviously, it was a special occasion. It was the 125th anniversary. There was lots going on around the ground. It was a big build up to it, big crowd, big atmosphere. And I just think, those sort of games never do really well for us. And obviously, we haven't beaten Derby, and John Eustace is in charge. I mean, Derby are flying high now. I think they've won 5 on the bounce, which is, they've done a really good job at turning that round. But I think that's where our season almost flips for me. That Derby game where we lost 1-0 is almost like the manager almost lost faith in how he wanted to play and reverted back to playing the defensive, let's try and break him, let's like basically bore him to death and try and catch him out on the counter. We went to Borough and we completely changed our game plan and lost 2-1. And I think, those 2 games there, the Derby game, we looked fantastic and we should have won. And I said fantastic. My apologies. Someone pointed out I said it a lot. Okay, we looked really well, drilled, moved the ball quite nicely, had chances, hit the crossbar. But again, we could have played all night and not scored in that game. Went to Borough and we were dreadful. Absolutely awful. Couldn't string a pass together. Just mind-boggling how we've gone from the first probably 4 or 5 games in the season where we look really, really, excellent in positioning, pushing high, pressing teams, moving the ball well, to going and losing to Derby where we still played quite well, and to Borough where we just weren't even a team. It was just incoherent. The players were kicking the ball out of play. DK in the middle of the park was just kicking it out of play, losing the ball in silly positions. Positioning wasn't that great. But then it flipped, and we went to the Leicester game at home, and we looked really, 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 back to our old selves again. We were quick. The goal scored by Elliot Jr. was absolutely incredible. He flicked the ball on from Heggybo, run through, took it past 2 or 3 players and slotted it home, and potentially for me was goal of the month that month. And we thought, "Here we go, maybe the last 2 games were just a slip up." We went to Norwich, we got the 1-0 win. We were hard to break down, we were tough, similar to the Stoke game, we were just tough, but we just started to sit off them even more so than we did in the Stoke game. And it's a worrying pattern for me. We went to Millwall and we just sat off Millwall, and Millwall absolutely annihilated us 3-0. Fair play to them. They knew what they were doing from the first whistle to the last minute. They absolutely annihilated us. Scored goals for fun and, really, really made us show that you can't sit back in this league. You can't back off teams and you can't let them play their football. You have to high press. And that's what I mean. From that Derby game, bar the Leicester game, we've reverted back to almost Corberán style of let's build defensively solid first and we'll build from that. Whereas at the start of the season, I thought we were really attacking. Okay, obviously, we beat Blackburn 1-0, um, drew with Portsmouth 1-1, beat Stoke 1-0. Wrexham, obviously, we beat 3-2, but we had to score those goals. Leicester was 1-1. Norwich was 1-0 to the Albion. Preston, we've won by 2-1. The games that we've won have been tight games. We don't seem to score many goals. We seem to get one and just sit on it, and it's a worrying trend that we're doing. Obviously, Millwall was an international break. We all thought, right, let's Mason get it together. Let's go again. And we went to obviously Preston again, another team flying high. And we beat them 2-1, two absolute wonder goals from Johnston and Price as well. And then Preston obviously got a late goal and put pressure on us again, and we sat back off of them. And that, as I say, it's just such a worrying trend for us. We sit off teams. The Watford game, we went 1-0 up, and what did we do? We sat off of them. Ipswich, we sat off of them for the whole game and tried to just counter them. Sheffield Wednesday come to our ground, and we sat off Sheffield Wednesday. Now, no offense to Sheffield Wednesday, but why have we done that? We should be going into that game thinking, right, they've just obviously got rid of their owners. They've got a shoestring team together. They can't really afford to make too many substitutions. Let's go at them. Let's attack them. Charlton, obviously, we lost 1-0, 95th minute deflected goal. I think that game was screaming out for a 0-0 all game. Bar obviously us saving the penalty. And then we beat Oxford 2-1 at the weekend after them going 1-0 up, which is a bit of a change for us. Usually we used to go 1-0 up and sitting off teams, but for me, the worrying trend is we're sitting off teams, and I don't understand why we're doing it. As I say, that Derby game, it's almost like Mason's gone, "Well, I can't trust the team to do, what I want them to do, so let's revert to what I know the team can do, and that's be hard to beat." And it's boring football, let's be honest. The crowd got on the backs of the players and the manager in the Oxford game. Half-time, we were booing them because it was 0-0. They went 1-0 up, and the whole stadium just you could feel that just bubbling under the surface, and as soon as we went 1-0 down, it just erupted, it booing. And it's almost like it flicked a switch in their heads because we started attacking Oxford, and we scored 2 goals, 2 fantastic goals. I said it again. 2 really good goals. Obviously, one was an own goal, but a great run by Johnson, fed into Styles, and Heggybo got his goal as well, which is, I love it for him. Does so much on the ball, and so off the ball, making willing runs, closing people down. But the big worry for me is now we've got Coventry when we come back off international break, 12:30 kickoff. If we go to Coventry and we sit off Coventry, they're going to annihilate. It's going to be a cricket score. It's going to be 6 or 7. I really can see if we go to Coventry and try and play that sort of football. We need to be in at Coventry. Look at what Wrexham did to beat them. They didn't sit off. They didn't sit off Coventry. They didn't think, oh, this is Coventry. They're top of the table. They're going to batter us. They said, well, you're at our place now. Let's go and do it. And I know we're going to Coventry, and you have to kind of play a little bit differently when you're going to an away ground. But let's get into Coventry. Let's get at them. Let's put them on the back foot. Let's make their fans get on edge a little bit. Let's not sit off of them and let their atmosphere build and let them, build the pressure onto us. Because if they do, it will be a cricket score and it's going to be an embarrassed one. For me, the biggest thing is Mason actually making these decisions, and that's my biggest worry. You know, is he being fed information from, other players, other staff? Is he being fed information from Nesta that you need to play this certain brand of football? You know, is he being taken out of the picture, but just being a front man for everything? And that's the big worry for me because the flip from the Derby game, it's not in day. You know, high pressing, attacking football. You know, quick little runs, making fantastic movement. To Derby game where we're now going, what? Well, we're backing off teams. You know, we're gonna be hard to break down, and we're gonna try and score a goal, and if we score a goal, we're gonna sit on the goal, because it doesn't always work like that. Norwich, it worked. Preston, obviously, we went 2 up, and then we sat off them, and they scored, and then put pressure on us. Watford, we went 1 up, and we sat off of them. They scored 2 goals. Ipswich, we sat off of them for the full game. They scored a goal really late on. And that's the big thing. If you sit off teams, you know, for 95 minutes, you're gonna get punished, and Ipswich have done it, Charlton have done it, you know, Watford did it, Millwall did it because we just sat off them for the whole game. We need to be different. We need to be in from the front foot. I really, really hope this international break. Obviously, we've got Malumbi coming back, Collier back. We now have a full strength team, pending any injuries, you know, for international duty. I hope Banny comes back fully fit, because Nesta's putting a lot of faith into him, and we haven't really seen him yet, and that's a bit of a concerning one that he's put a lot of faith into a kid we haven't really seen and hasn't really adapted to the league yet. So let's see after the international break, Coventry. I mean, the next couple of games we've got Coventry away, Blues at home, Swansea at home, QPR away, Southampton away, Sheffield United at home, Hull away, Bristol City at home, QPR at home as well. That's the remaining games of this calendar year. You know, some really, really tough games. If someone said to me 3 points out of the next 3 games, you'd look at that and go, "That's not far wrong," you know. Are we gonna struggle against Coventry? I really think we are. We're gonna struggle against Blues? I think we're gonna struggle against Blues. Swansea, are we gonna struggle against them? I think we're gonna struggle against Swansea as well. If we go into the games with the mentality of let's just sit back and try and hold the ball and let's not do anything and be almost like this, you know, you will have to break us down, you will have to get past us because we can't play that football. We haven't got the talent of players to do it. We're not Man City of this world. We are West Bromwich Albion. You know, we need to realise who we are and play to our strengths. You know, the Oxford game, once we went 1-0 down, we started playing to our strengths. Get the ball out wide and get it down the line as quickly as possible. Let's move the ball quicker. And, you know, as soon as Collier and Malumbi come on in midfield, the ball movement was so much quicker than when Mowatt's on the ball. And, you know, I love Mowat, don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic servant to the club. You know, he's captain, really in midfield, does really good, you know, moving the ball around for us. But why does he always take a touch and then almost think about what he's doing next and then go backwards with it? Look at any team that really moves the ball well. As soon as they get the ball, the first thought in their mind is, right, I'm turning and running at someone, or I've got the ball, where's my next pass forward? Go. For the Albion, it's can we pass side to side to side to side? Can we pass backwards? You know, we've gone from having a throw in down by the corner flag all the way back to the goalkeeper at one point against Oxford. And it's like, that's not how you win football games at the end of the day. And it's not how fans want to come and watch a game of football. You know, I don't want to sit there for 90 minutes and watch us just kick the ball around side to side and maybe nick a goal. Neither does my old man, and neither does anybody around me. They all say the same. And I'm sure you guys agree with that. We don't want to see that sort of football. So let's hope, you know, players are fit back, you know, international break, they're going to come back stronger, fitter, well gelled, well oiled, you know, and we're going to go into the next 3 or 4 games going, this is how we're playing. We're on the front foot. Doesn't matter where we are, who we're playing. From the first whistle to the last whistle, we're going for them. And that's what I want to see. Obviously, Albion fans, let me know what you want to see. As I say, if you're a fan of another championship club and you subscribed, stay tuned for next Wednesday where I'll be breaking down every single championship team. I appreciate each and every one of you. Obviously, international breaks are a bit difficult to make content for, but I do try my best for you guys. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye bye, guys.